Hope y'all enjoyed the episode. Be sure to like and subscribe. Klutch kickers.
Start putting this pad together. It's going to earnest on Thursday to get the inner core piping done, so we gotta put the front end at least together enough to where he can mock everything up.
Alright, Zach. What are we doing today?
Diff swap, kind of. We're gonna put a 4.6 in your car, or at least start to. It's probably gonna take a couple of days because we've got a lot of other stuff going on, but yeah, 4.6 ring gear swap for the KA to see if we can get a little bit more pep in it without actually putting more power to it.
So what is the benefit of the 4.6 for a KA car?
Super short gear ratio. So where KAs lack power compared to, like, I don't want to say SR and RB cars because they're not super powerful either, but like an LS or a JZ, you can run a much longer gear ratio with more power and get your wheel speed up higher. But when you do shorter gear ratios in lower horsepower cars, it makes the cars feel faster than they actually are. Because essentially what it does is it takes the amount of power you have and makes it more usable. It brings your actual like gear ratio down, so it doesn't take as much to get the motor into its power band. So your 100 horsepower car becomes like a 220 horsepower car or so.
Our car only has 100 horsepower?
Like, I think the KAs are rated at like 180, but I mean.
So first thing we gotta do is remove the diff, right?
Yeah, remove the diff. So the short rundown, exhaust, pull the wheels, pull the axles out, pull the drive shaft. Not even pull it, just unbolt it, and then like 4 bolts right here and 2 bolts here, and the diff will literally fall out of the car. It's super quick and simple, but that's kind of
never been taken out before.
I mean, judging by the amount of buildup, if it has, it's been a very, very long time. As long as we theoretically should be able to keep everything that's in there in the same spot and just change the crown wheel and the pinion gear. It's just very tedious with these, and as Ernest and I have found out, when you pull it out, if you're not careful and you drop it, you break fingers and cut yourself and shit, so I don't want to do that. So we'll get it out and kind of see what it looks like and go from there.
Let's get it.
It's out.
So now you don't have to take the wheels off or anything? Nice.
Just take the other 6 bolts out of the other side, do the same thing with the other axle, pull the drive shaft, pull the diff out. What happens when you Loctite your axle bolts?
Don't Loctite your axle bolts.
Nah, I mean, it's not that you shouldn't Loctite them, but you shouldn't put red Loctite on them. Blue is fine, but new orange Permatex is fine. When you use red Loctite, you gotta get the bolts off. The bolts are really, really weak in these things. They're like super soft. I don't know, they're not aluminum, but they're just really not good steel. They're really easy to strip them, so. We don't need to pull the sway bar, but we do need to take these out so it'll fall. It makes it just easier, that way you don't have to try and like, if you leave the sway bar in, you have to like bring the diff down at an angle and slide it back and whatever. If you just drop the 4 bolts and the sway bar comes down, then you can just drop the diff straight down and pull it out, which is way easier to me. Because regardless of what people think, those are actually kind of heavy.
Diffs?
Yeah, like I don't know how much they actually weigh, but like they're not heavy to pick up off the ground, but when you're trying to like drop it and catch it, and then they're kind of heavy. So, I mean, somebody wants to play He-Man, have at it, but there's way easier ways to get it out. And then we also need to drain the fluid out of it real quick, because the fluid adds a a lot of weight to it. Every time. I got one. Hell yeah.
Alright guys, so the first thing we went ahead and did was pull off our exhaust from this point back. That way we could access these axle bolts. Let me turn it up so you can see. And then after we did that, we went ahead and loosened these axle bolts. Pulled the axles back, pulled the axles back. That way, so we pulled the axles right there. And then now we're working on the drive shaft bolts. One of them was super tight because someone put Loctite on everything, so it was a pain in the ass, so I had to vice grip this to get this bolt out. So now I just need to finish, they're all broken loose, so now I just need to pull them off. And then after that, I believe we pull these 4 off and these 2 off, and then it should just drop. And we have to drain the fluid first, can't forget that, or it'll be super heavy and make a mess. And then yeah, after that, we will be installing the 4.6 ring and pinion. Shout out to S Chassis Parts and Service for all their help getting me this ring and pinion. I think the cool thing about my situation right now, having zero experience, is that I'm surrounded by a lot of knowledgeable people. Huge shout out to Scardig and Zach for helping me. Scardig sold me the car. He's helped me do a lot to it. He made sure it was good to go. Zach's helping me with the 4.6. Me and him are gonna do the cage, bash bars eventually, and all sorts of stuff. So yeah, I'm just really excited to keep learning and growing and eventually be a freaking drift god. I was about to cuss, but I'm getting good at that too, boys. Alrighty guys, that wraps it up for today. Zach had to leave because he had some personal stuff to take care of, so yeah, I don't want to fuck anything up, but really I got everything loosened now. All we have to do is drop the diff, but it's probably really heavy in the car. The car's sitting up really high, so I don't want to break my toes or break the diff or fuck anything up because it's going pretty smooth. So tomorrow we will kick back where we were at, drop the diff, and hopefully get the ring and pinion switched out so we can fucking drive this thing, see how it feels. I'm really excited. Once again, huge shout out to Zach for helping me get it all going. I'm really excited for this. And hopefully tomorrow Austin will be with me so he can film more while I have my hands on it, because I really want to do it myself, but it's kind of hard to film and do it. But yeah, that concludes it for today. We're gonna kick back at it again tomorrow. And yeah, thanks for watching, guys.
The whole filter housing off, you thread this into the block and the filter just sits in the block. Alright, we're basically to that point. You're being held in by this stud, like literally. Other than that.
Oh, there you see it, guys. Diff is out.
Oh, I'm a fucking moron.
And it looks dirty. What?
Should have popped the half shafts out before I fucking pulled the diff out.
I guess we should have pulled the half shafts out before we pulled the diff out, but
Break that nut loose.
we'll have to get that off to get the pinion gear out the back and get everything hard.
So take that nut off. You leave the face plate on, then we'll take the back cover off, and then that'll be that. There's your pinion. So now, the next step would be to take the cover off. There'd be like 4 big cradle bolts in there, basically. We'll take those off, and that whole center section will come out. We'll be able to slide the pinion gear out the back, and then we'll have to take the bolts out of the crown wheel. Take the crown wheel off, put your new crown wheel on, and start putting them back together. But diff plate is off. Look at Matt over here learning new stuff.
this is Zach's sick-ass Nissan 240SX. We're gonna do a build breakdown one day, once it's all put together.
Yeah, we'll probably do that next week after it gets back from full lock, because then all the body panels are ready to be bolted back on, so at that point it'll mostly look like a complete car minus paint, so maybe we'll go over like a small one next week, and then I'll do like a full in-depth one when it's done. We'll do it at the track. It's gonna be nuts, that's what it is. Okay, so see these 4 big ass bolts right there?
Yep.
Take those off, those caps will come off. Make sure, alright, so from this point, we need to actually start paying attention to where we pull stuff out, because it's going to not necessarily be side specific, but I'm assuming this diff has probably been shimmed, even though it's welded, and keep the spacing right and all that shit, so we don't want to mess with it. So we'll take these 4 bolts off, these caps will come off, set the caps right here. At that point, the crown wheel is actually ready to come out of the diff. We just gotta be really careful taking the crown wheel out, because normally we have these like harness and I support these on jack stands, but you can't pull the crown wheel out with the half shafts in it. So that's pretty much it. We'll take these fucking 4 bolts loose, then this will be floating basically, and we'll just slowly pull it out. You'll see some shims. Just pull the caps off and we'll go from there. How the hell is this? Let's wait. There it goes. Okay, so see how this one has this black thing on this side? Like that's the actual shim. That one doesn't, so we just need to make sure when we put it back together that this is in this side. This one doesn't have a crazy amount of shims, so this is kind of the shitty part. Fuck. Alright.
Should I put my camera down?
Yeah.
Stay tuned, boys.
When you put this back together, where's all the old shims and everything?
They're side specific.
Okay, make sure you reuse your old shims and and the bearings and everything.
Bearings are still on there, yeah. Yeah, I'm literally just gonna change this crown on this fucking gear and go.
That'll do it.
God damn.
The nut is probably not gonna be able to go through.
Fuck.
Good.
Probably gotta cut it a little more.
Wah, wah, wah.
Hell yeah! That's how you do it right there, boys. Now watch this. Ta-da! Pinion out. Thanks, Zach, for filming, because Austin's not here again.
Take all these little bolts out of the crown wheel. Crown wheel will come off the front. Slide the new crown wheel on, bolt it all back together.
If you can see there, it says 37 to 8. If you divide 37 by 8, it's 4.625. So that's it. So we got this one off. Now I'm gonna put this one on, Loctite on it, get it all bolted back up and reassembled, and then we gotta get to the parts store so I can get some diff fluid, and then reverse the order, and it should be good to go. 4.6 is officially in, or the crown ring is officially in. Now we just got to put this in and reassemble it, and it should be good to go.
It's kind of tricky because like some people overdo it, some people underdo it. Not really sure what the right method is, but this is how I do it, and it's worked for years. So. Take your finger. Try not to get it inside the diff. Just flatten it out into a gasket shape. Technically you should try and avoid the bolt holes too, but I mean, again, this is a 240 and these diffs come off. This cover's gonna come off a few fucking times, so. Yeah, I'm very well aware we're gonna get trolled like hell for me doing this. I'm very well aware. But
this is my 240 and I can do what I want.
And it works. I mean, it's not the, I put a little too much, this is the problem, I put way too much RTV on it. But go back and scrape some of this off here in a minute. Okay, I put a little too much. I mean, tomato. I said, it'll work. Cover. Set it on there very gently. Basically, let this chill out for about 10 more minutes, let that stuff tack up, and then we'll start tightening this down.
Alright guys, day 3 here of episode 8 of the 4.6 ring and pinion swap. Day 1, we got everything unbolted, got everything ready for the diff to be dropped. Day 2, we dropped the diff, pulled out the ring and pinion, the old one, put the new one in. We had to put RTV gasket, RTV for the gasket, so we had to let it cure overnight before we put it back in, so we had to wait until today obviously. And now it's officially in. So far I've got the drive shaft bolted back up, the sway bar bolted back up, and now all I gotta do is the axles, and it should be good to go. Zach had to leave, he had to go do some stuff, so when he gets back I should have everything bolted up, and then we'll drop it down and I'm gonna take it for a spin. Looking forward to it.
Typical 240 owner only has the one window crank.
Please don't blow up.
Every 240 owner on the planet. I like these, Scott. These grip roll shim mounts are dope, dude.
It runs a little rough. Drive down the street?
Yeah, we need to put some more fluid in that training before the event. That's what all that noise is. What I'm hearing is the gears moving inside the transmission.
Zach, sir, thank you so much for all your help.
You're very welcome.
You are the GOAT.
Feels good, doesn't it?
It is now a certified ripper, I hope.
It's a lot peppier.
Feels like it. We had to put some tranny fluid in it.
Yeah, that's what all that racket is. The lack of fluid that's in there at all.
So yeah, we'll do that, and then we're gonna fucking drift it. Well guys, there you have it. The 4.6 is officially in. Zach did a little donut. I went and drove it down the street. He says he thinks I need some transmission fluid, so before the Funday, August 15th, we're gonna do that. And yeah, hope you enjoyed it. I enjoyed it. It all went fairly smooth. I can't complain about the process. I was really wanting to paint it before the event, but it needs a lot of body work, so I'm gonna probably take my time with that. And yeah, really looking forward to driving, and stay tuned for the next episode.